I think we have like brain defects, brain damage. Please don't look up to us. We're morons. You know, I lost almost $250,000.
Wow.
Trying it out on my own. I didn't come this far just to come this far.
Right. Life is just a whole bunch of balls that were jumping. Like, let's talk about where the heck did you come from? How did you become visible?
Oh God. I owned a bar for a long time, and so like you kind of can't help but sort of being a little bit in the public eye,
right?
You know, when you kind of own a trendy sort of like a martini lounge sort of a thing. I did that for like 15 years. And at the same time, I was also in the cigar business. Like, this is weird. Like, I have a weird, like, it's odd, you know? So, like, when I graduated college, I didn't know what the hell I wanted to do. Like, I tried to go get a job on Wall Street, and no one wanted to hire me because I had no official, like, I wasn't remotely qualified.
I'm a lawnmower. Can I come work for you?
Was not remotely qualified to do that sort of a thing. So they all said no. And then I got into the cigar business just because that's like the thing that I loved doing, and I don't barely even smoke cigars anymore now. And then that kind of parlayed itself into a bigger cigar business. And then that parlayed itself into a really high-end cigar bar / martini lounge. Did that for like 15 years.
Fun.
And then I got sued a couple times by my landlord. That's not so fun. And as a result of that, because they thought that my cigar smoke was like seeping into my neighbors' spaces. And so I got forced into becoming an HVAC expert by accident because of these lawsuits.
That's how the HVAC
That's how the HVAC thing happened. I didn't even know how to turn my own thermostat up. I became friends with this guy who was kind of helping me with my own HVAC at the bar. He's like, hey, your bar kind of runs itself. Like, you're barely even here. Like, you want to start an HVAC company? He's like, I'm really good at that thing, but I don't really know much about sales and marketing. It's like, why don't you do that? I'll do this and we'll build something. And I was like, all right, let's do it. So that's how I got into that. And then we sold that business a few years later. And then I got into solar. God bless my soul. That was weird. And then while in solar, I realized I had to provide leads to all of my sales reps. And so that's how I really got into it, because like, you know, providing leads to sales reps, as you know, being a business owner, that's a real challenge, especially if you're starting from nothing,
right?
Like totally nothing. And I really wanted to build like a big team of sales. At one point I had it up to 130 salespeople.
Yep.
So I needed to provide them leads. And so you have to get good at a lot of different strategies. Like, you can't just sit there and rely on referrals and friends and family. Like, that's not going to get anywhere. So I did all the usual you know, I did all the standard digital marketing stuff, and they're all fine to some extent. But the call center thing just was a total accident. Like, I didn't build a call center because I knew what I was doing, because I didn't. We just hired a cold caller, and then she started cold calling, and it started working. And then so we hired another, and then another, and we just kind of got better over time. Like, made a ton of mistakes, lost a ton of money until I didn't. You know, I lost almost $250,000.
Wow.
Trying it out on my own, shut it down twice. And then just kept coming back to it because I'm like, I can figure this out. Like, I have to be able to figure this out. What's that old line? I didn't come this far just to come this far.
Right.
That's what kept ringing through my brain. I didn't come this far just to come this far.
Right.
I didn't make it this far just to quit and throw in the towel now. It's like, I'm right on the edge. Like, I'm right here. Like, I can do this. And so that's finally on the third go around is when it finally, something finally clicked. It took forever.
And then that turned into the company now.
Scalify
call centers. Okay.
Yeah.
I love that. We talk a lot on the show about, you know, showing up and making sure that we don't quit. And so, I mean, despite all of the craziness that we go through and the obstacles.
You know, people like, sorry to interrupt you, but people like look at entrepreneurs, I think sometimes like in an idyllic way. And I always like joke, I'm like, I think we have like brain defects, brain damage. Please don't look up to us. We're morons, I think, for a large part. Because first of all, most of us don't make it.
Yep.
Let's be honest. A very small percentage of us actually become successful. The rest of us are just the brain damage type, right? Who couldn't crack it, which was almost me and almost you and almost everybody else successful that we know. But none of us do, but not all of us will make it. That's just a sad reality of life. Like, you do have to be in the right place at the right time. That is a reality for most successful business. Most of them will admit, like, yeah, I kind of was at the right place at the right time. Like, now I get it. You have to be around a lot. Like, even Hormozy says, he's like, luck ain't shit. Like, you just got to do the same thing for a long period of time and luck will find you. Right. And I get that. I agree. But like, you have to have made it, you know, up until a certain period of time. And some people will get washed out. So it's like, my heart goes out. Like, we are idiots.
Yeah. I always say, if you're not a true entrepreneur, if you don't wake up in the middle of the night and realize, what the hell am I doing? This is bullshit. I want to be done.
Yeah.
I quit. And then you wake up the next day and you get back on the horse and you're like, let's go.
Yeah, because the alternative is even scarier.
I have 4 kids, and my daughters, my 2 oldest daughters said, we want to have a meeting with you. And that's never a good sign. I'm like, oh gosh.
Intervention from your own
We're
kid.
having an intervention with my kids. Like, we had a conversation, and we are having a hard time with you being on calls when we get home from school.
Well, that's really cool of them, first of all, to actually approach you with that.
It was very mature
That's
of them.
damn
And
mature,
I said, you know, I hear you. I actually, usually my assistant knows not to schedule calls after 3 p.m. I don't like to be on calls when my kids get home from school. That's a you know, a values thing for me, is I want to be visible to my children, not just to my company. But, you know, there were a couple meetings in that week, and that's what they remembered. So I had to remember that. I was like, okay, they don't care that my company's making million. They want mom at the end of the day,
Sure.
right? And I'm a single mom, so like I want to be visible to them. So I was like, okay. So I had to like address that, but I'm like, listen, kids, like I've been an entrepreneur their whole life. I've been an entrepreneur for 21 years. Like I've been doing this a long time. They've never seen me go to work, ever. And I'm like, the alternative to this is me being at a job and I cannot leave until 5 or 6 at night. I just want to put that in perspective for you guys. Sometimes I'm running a company. Sometimes I have to take calls, and you guys just have to accept that sometimes.
No, I think it's a good thing.
You know what I mean?
I get the notion that like that saying that like your kids aren't going to remember how many hours you put in. They're only going to remember they never saw you. Yes, I do understand that. I get it. But the other thing that they are going to recognize is the diligence and the hustle and the effort and the refusal to the refusal to give up. That's the other message that you're sending through to them, that life ain't easy, dude. Like it's gonna suck for a while until it doesn't.
Exactly.
And so like if you think that it's just gonna like magically happen for you because, you know, also I think Hormozy was like, I'm gonna butcher the line, but he's like, if you think you can have like a fair and balanced life between family life and work life, then you're not good at either one.
Yeah.
You're failing at both.
You know, I do a lot of speaking. And when I speak on stage, I always say it this way, is that life is just a whole bunch of balls that we're juggling. And some balls are glass and some are plastic. And my job is to identify which ones are glass and which ones are plastic. Now, the plastic ones can fall and drop and roll under the couch, and I don't know where they are. It doesn't really matter because they don't break. The glass ones are the important ones, right? The ones that will break and shatter, and if I drop them, they are catastrophic. Things like my health, my relationship with my children, you know, my relationship with my family, my relationship with my employees, making sure my clients are happy. Like those types of things are those glass balls. But then, you know, my house being spotless all the time, having a home cooked meal every night. There's things that just don't matter at the end of the day that can get dropped, and they're plastic balls and they could just roll under the couch, and I don't even, you know, and they shift. Sometimes this glass ball becomes plastic and the glass, you know, they can go back and forth. My role is just don't drop the glass balls. And some days it's like one thing, like I just have to get through the day and not drop this one ball, but I'm always juggling something, and it's okay. And sometimes I just suck at other things, and sometimes I'm really good and I'm juggling 15 glass balls and I'm like, great job, Lauren. But, you know, I always share that with my kids. Like, you know, I'm juggling like literally 100 things at any given moment. In my head, you might not see it, but I'm doing the best I can, and I will show up for you and be visible to you. It might not be all the time that you want, but the reason why we have these things is because I've done this. We don't talk about the visibility of showing up for our family very much as well, but that is important to me as a single mom, that I want to show up for my kids and be visible to them. I can do that because I've built the online visibility to grow the company in a way that I can step away and not be working 100 hours a week like I used to.
Yeah, I love it.